Hi, my name is Tomasz Jóźwik and I'm a software engineering intern here. And today I would like you to hear about the RFC materials and more details about the RFC process. So let's begin. All materials are available on the Notion platform. You can find them on the shared RFC folder. So the first one is the RFC one-pager. Here you can find the basic information connected with the RFC process and a list of other materials such as the RFC index, RFC template, guideline, and checklist. So let's start with the guideline. So the first part of the guideline is the dictionary. It contains the most common terms connected with the RFC process, such as the author, the person who is writing the RFC, the committee or decision makers, the people who are deciding about the rejection or acceptance of the RFC, and the RASCI matrix, the table that contains the roles of all people involved in the RFC process. But what is the RFC in fact, and what is in the RFC? So you might think that RFC should be written for every change, but in fact it shouldn't. You should choose the topic that will have an impact for the whole company or our work culture. For example, if you want to buy a new chairs for the office, it wouldn't change anything in fact, so it is not the good topic for the RFC. And how you can create your RFC? Let's have a look on our RFC template. Here it is, and as Kuba said in the first lightning talk, it is split in the few parts, and you should fill it with the information that you found during your research and share with your supervisor or project manager. So after it will be accepted, you should share it with everyone via Notion, and the people will start commenting. And here we have the best practices connected with the writing or reviewing the RFC. So after writing the first draft, you should check if everything is written properly. So you can use our checklist. For example, you should check if the start date is set, or if there is a short paragraph connected with the abstract, and etc. But another important thing is reviewing the RFC and responding to feedback. So if you want to comment on somebody else's RFC, you should do some research in order to not discourage him, because he probably spent a lot of time during writing it, and he will be dissatisfied if your comment won't be connected with the topic very good. And if you will receive feedback from somebody else, let's read it, but of course, you are not forced to implement it if it is not suitable. We also created the BPMN diagrams, and if you want to know who is responsible for the next part of the RFC process or what you should do next, you can take a look at them and everything will be clear. So they are split in the 3 diagrams, like RFC writing, RFC publishing and reviewing, and RFC decision making. So maybe let's take a look at the first one. So here we have an RFC writing, and if you want to write an RFC, you should ask for a time, and here you can see that the person responsible for the granting time is your supervisor. And probably the most important part of our guidelines is the frequently asked questions section. So there are some uncertainties connected to the RFC process. Question, you should check first if we explained it in our guidelines, but of course, if we didn't, you can contact the R&D department and we will try to do our best. And the last part of the guidelines is the step-by-step guide. So it is especially useful when you are writing your RFC and if you don't know what you should do next. So let's assume that you are an RFC author and you have your RFC published already and the time for commenting is up. So let's check what you should do. You should wait for the RFC committee's decision. And let's have a look at the currently published RFCs. So there are 5 RFCs published. Some of them are accepted or rejected. And if the RFC is accepted, you cannot comment on that, but you can create another RFC that will obsolete or update it. But if the RFC is rejected, of course, you can create another RFC, but it will not obsolete them as the previous one is not accepted. And if the RFC is in the feedback requested state, you can read it and comment it in order to help the RFC author to improve it, but you can also create another RFC connected with the same topic and it will obsolete the previous one if it is accepted. So I think that's all for now. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask.